Ahum. Namaste. Happy Yule. Happy solstice. And for many, Merry Christmas. Today we're going to talk about celebrating the traditional uh, changes or change of, I want to say it, how could I say it? Of the tides, I guess. What is the meaning of celebrating Yule? What is it? It is actually the returning of the light. We're celebrating the returning of the light. Take it however it has just come into you. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. Whatever that means, the returning of the light for you, go with it. Go with it. The fact of the matter is, based on what I've been learning, based on my furthering of my education um, with religions and non-religions, what I learned was that before Christianity was even born, before Christianity was even a thought, ancient traditions celebrated something that they called Yule, right? It just so happens that when then Christianity came about, uh, it was invented by man, all of a sudden they needed something to compare it to, so that they can go spread their doctrine and do the conversions. So they started looking at Yule and what it meant to people, what the traditions were, and they realized that Yule is a celebration of the sun, S-U-N, sunshine, right? Of rebirth and renewal. But not only that, it was also the continuation of life. Look at all those things. Think back to how you were conditioned growing up into believing in your religion. Whatever religion it was, they all have that. There is a part in the Bible. Yes, you know me. I'm going to go and I'm going to prove, right? About Jesus and the Son. So there in Ephesians 5:14, Christ is in little brackets on the bottom of the Bible. On that page it says the Son, Christ the Son, S-U-N, right, will shine on you. Philippians 3:20 has for oh my God, for they were having a conversation and they explained um, how the conversations in heaven, which is the celestial sphere above, that every time we look at, we receive that light. That's the sun, everybody. Yeah. John 8:12. Jesus spoke to the people and he said, I am the light of the world. Well, hello, the light of the world is the sun for many people. The light of the world is also, open your eyes, dude. It's plain as day. This is who I am, right? Yet in John 9:5, he says, while I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Again, there's the sun, right? Colossians 3:2, set your minds on things above, not on earthly things, right? I mean, I can go on and on and on because the book has the book has a lot of things that when you read it and you read it and you start putting things together without getting dumbed down by, these masses of people getting together and getting brainwashed in the middle of a mass, because that is what happens. You got candles, you got music, you've got incense, and everybody knows what incense can do. But that's what this is not about. Um, you have to understand that that is a how-to manual. That is a manual that, yeah, it was written by man, but there's things in it that once you put yourself in that meditative state and read, you're going to understand, and you're going to say, oh, whoa, wait a minute. I've read this 3 times, and this looks different. And it's the same book, right? But it looks different. You're perceiving it differently, right? But it depends on the level of understanding. Your level of understanding has to do with your level of conditioning or removal of. That veil that everybody talks about, it's all the lies, all the miscommunication, all the misdirection, and it's there. It's there. But let's go back to Yule. Let's digress. Now, a lot of people in this world, and you tell me if you don't feel the same, a lot of people feel that celebrating Yule in the way that, oh, well, as close to as it was celebrated by the ancients, actually are very, very close to the Christmas customs, right? But in today's society, and forever, you buy more things, you pay more taxes. Who are you feeding? Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, it's not only about helping your fellow man, but it's also, and small businesses or big businesses, it is about consumerism. It is about making purchases and paying taxes. That's it. Um, and if you notice that on Christmas there are more sales. People's birthdays. There are birthdays every day of the year. How are the sales there? Anybody tracking that? Right. So, what do we do? Well, a lot of us say thank you to whoever is listening. We try to let go of our past. Some of us wish that we could. Some of us it's not that easy, but we also look forward to what is coming, because Yule also marks the end of a year, right? And the beginning of a new one. There it is, a celebration of the sun. There's not much sun during in different parts of the world during Yule, but whatever anybody says, whatever conditioning you have chosen to accept, Yule is a pagan celebration, and it happens on winter solstice. And there are certain things that the ancients did during winter solstice, which actually marked the longest night of the year, and then came the return of the sun. Why is it that happened? Well, let's look at science a little bit. So on this day, the Earth's axis actually tilts away from the sun, but that is from the northern hemisphere. So here's here is the Earth. Here is the sun. So what's happening is it's tilting away. So while sun is going this way, here it's going this way. Or maybe it's doing it this way, right? So the northern hemisphere is actually away from the sun rays, the sunlight, and all of a sudden it reaches this huge, a bigger distance, right, from the equator, which is the middle of the earth. Let's just humor me that this is the earth, okay? No. So, now, what happens when that happens? So the sun is closer, or is in the greatest distance from the equatorial plane. What happens? Well, little by little, the day starts to get longer. So from the longest night of the year, right, that is when we begin to celebrate the return of the sun. Take that as you want. Take that as you, right now, you're receiving that energy. You're receiving the message, right? It's like a toing for some of you. Now, this is a big deal. This is a change in seasons. This is what ancient people relied on to know when to plant, when to harvest, when to, see what I mean? The elements are all part of this. Mama or Pachamama or Mama Kia or all those wonderful realizations, all those wonderful deities, all these wonderful and astounding other elements are part of Yule, right? So since the ancients used Yule, they began to come up with positive and high vibrational reasons for celebration. Humans love celebrating. They just love celebrating. And representing the light is a huge, huge part of, I guess, celebrating the return of the sun. The return of the sun. So they made a festival, right? Right? And how did they do that? How would humans celebrate? What was this festival of lights? And by the way, there are other religions that use that term, and rightly so, right? Well, there's flickering candles, there's twinkling lights, which we see in every home, on every tree, right? We light up trees, right? Whether it's inside the house, outside the house, in stores. Hello, that's Yule. It just so happens that Christianity, or whatever they want to call themselves now, they said, well, we need to convert these people, and we need to find something that they are going to relate to, so that way it's a lot easier for them to convert, because we can't just keep killing people, right? Right. Less people, less taxes. Yeah, there you go. So all of a sudden, these festivals, they were seeing these festivals, they looked beautiful, and it is a celebration of the actual slow progression, which is science returning, the world returning to the light, or the light returning to the world, right? So when people celebrate Yule, Happy Yule, not Merry Christmas, Happy Yule, they reflect on the year that actually already passed. But they're okay, so they're reflecting, which means that they're learning. They learned, okay, well, this year was right. For many people, this year was like that. For many people, this year's was a turning point, a change, a shift. They reflect, they learn. What happened last year that didn't work, or that year that didn't work? But then they're already looking forward to the year ahead. So they already have an internal light into what it is that they would like to bring high frequencies, high vibrations into their intentions for, let's say, in our case, 2024. We start now, ladies and gentlemen. We don't start on the 31st with a bottle of wine. We start now. And notice how, whether it's Yule or Christmas or whatever, it brings family together. Family meaning friends and family that are not blood. Because for some, it's hard, right? Some can't, some won't, and some should not, for whatever reason that they've had issues with them. But what is it that we do, whether it's Christmas or whether it's Yule? We spend time connecting to those we love. Hold on. I want you to understand and listen to what I'm saying. Connecting to those we love. It no longer means connecting to those that are still living, that we love. Yes, we do that. We do that. But we also connect to those that have left, but we still love. Because in our heart and in our minds, once we are in coherence, we understand that those that we love, we can still love because they never died. They're going through a renewal. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we don't die. We move away from the ailed meat suit so that we can decide to come back. The ailed meat suit, not that we leave the meat suit of our own accord. No, we have to hunker down and we have to live through it. Or we come back to finish it. In the middle of winter in Europe, was it Europe? In Europe, for millions of years, okay? Some of the customs that they used to have in winter, they have actually been traced back to the Norse people. What did they call that festival of light? Oh yeah, by the way, millions of years ago. This was millions of years ago. And they traced it back to the Norse. And they call it Yule. What would they do? They decorated everywhere with plants, anything that was green, and they would hang ornaments off trees. They used to sing, and they used to give gifts. Not from Target, not from Walmart, not from Macy's, gifts. Most people made gifts, right? And that custom of the gift giving came from the Germanics, right? Because they did celebrate the day of Yule. Now, some people believe that the festival of Yule, of light, is so related to Saturnalia. It's a tradition, an ancient Roman tradition that was celebrated around the solstice, but it lasted a week, right? I like that. I like that a lot. But during that week celebration, that week festival, they honored Saturn, the god of agricultural bounty. It makes perfect sense. Winter we have already harvested, and we're planning what we're going to take care of or grow for the next year. We're looking at our seeds as we eat off the table of Pachamama, right? And we put away seeds, we plan. It's in the great book too. There are specific instructions on how to plant, when to plant, how to take care of the soil. But everybody learns their way, right? And again, the festivities always had gifts and these huge feasts because it was plentiful because they planned ahead for the next year. Now, okay, so you have the neo-pagans, you've got the Wiccans. Their tradition, it means that the Holly King, that's the time of the year that the Holly King, um, okay, so who's the Holly King? He represents the dark side of the year. So what does that mean? So he gives way to the sun god or the oak king, right? And these are two battling gods, and they represent uh, all the seasons, but also because the seasons happen, in between the cycles of the sun, right? Um, and that happened. That's what they believe. That is, but it's still the same thing. They just call it different, right? Um, there are seasonal plants that everyone has used, right? If you go back to the customs and you look for it, the holly king, right? What is that? What does the holly represent? Well, it represents the old solar year. Wait a minute. We have Father Time, right? And the holly king was even thought of being the guy that came before Santa, right? It is considered a sacred plant by many Druids before, during, and now, okay? Because it is a symbol of protection. The holly plant is a symbol of protection. Whether it doesn't matter what religion you are or what faith, because we don't believe in religion. Religion doesn't exist, um, man made. But what is it? Why is it that the holly has always been used for protection? Everybody does, right? Depending on the part of the world that you're in, every part has a sacred plant. All right, every every part of the world has a different celebration, but it's still nonetheless a celebration of the sun. There's an ivy as well. That is a reminder that ivy, once you got ivy, life continues, right? Because it often lives on after a host plant has died. Duh, right? But the ivy is also considered fidelity and loyalty. And it's always very good to have ivy around your home during this time of the year. Ivy, any hanging ivy, it symbolizes the strength of family bonds. What a beautiful gift to give someone. Right there, a holly plant. Isn't that beautiful? Here, have a holly plant for your home as a symbol of protection. That is why we place, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the holly, the mistletoe with holly on the front door is protection. But we use it to kiss. Oh, under the holly tree. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that cool? I think that's like awesome. But anyway, I'm gotta digress. Mistletoe. Um, it's was presented during the holidays um, by, I don't remember. I want to say the Norsemen. I'm not sure. It's just so much. It's so much education when it comes to those things and ancient times. But they used to in war they used to go under um, the growth of a mistletoe, and they used to lay down their arms, and they would meet in peace under the growth of a mistletoe. But a mistletoe, really, that I know of, the mistletoe, was made out of holly. Uh, I don't know about birch, but I know that birch is associated with rebirth, another beautiful plant that you can give in Yule, right? And it's usually if, and it's really interesting because birchwood or the birch plant is the first plant that actually comes out. Um, that comes out. Sorry, guys. That comes out. The very first plant after a fire. So that's a big thing. That is a big thing. Um, where's the video? There it is. I found you guys because I lost you. Um, now, how could we celebrate Yule? How was it that they did it in a different way, guys? This is millions of years ago, and little by little, it's been just smaller people and smaller groups of people and smaller groups of people. But how could we do that? This year, I lost a very good friend. Um, I lost my Nico, and this is the very first year without him. So it's still very hard for me. But I know for a fact that Mr. Nico is very much with us. I'm just feeling that attachment to the physical body, and I totally understand that. But I still have to go through those wonderful opportunities of feeling this way so that I can learn how to help others, right? So I this year my Christmas tree just has lights. It doesn't have the Christmas balls because first of all, I've had a lot of work. I went to school, everybody knows that. Went back to school. And I do have, you guys know that I'm always busy doing something. But Christmas is not the same as I get older and as my children get older. What my husband and I, you guys know we're just 2 days apart, um, have realized when we started in August asking each other, well, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want? And we were both at the same thing. I really don't want anything. Anything that I need, I'll buy if I have it. And if I don't, I'll wait or find an alternative. Um, and here we are, Friday, 3 days before Christmas. We were more excited putting everything together for Christmas Eve dinner, the feast, um, than buying gifts, especially for us and for each other, because we don't want anything. What we want is honest, truthful, evenings with family, focusing on new beginnings, focusing on gratitude for each other, focusing in conversation, right? Right. So, what happens when you practice gratitude? Abundance opens up. And celebrating the returning of the light, however you want, however it is that you want to understand that and allow that vibration in. There is no right or wrong. It is the way you designed to understand it. I cannot tell you, no, it is this. No, because it isn't, right? So, celebrating the returning of the light, that's why it was so appropriate just to leave the Christmas tree without balls. I rather see a Christmas tree with lights. Is it yes because, there are people that I do miss? Yeah, also, I guess. But not really. I would like to say that that's what it is, but I know where they are, right? It's because the tree looks so much nicer with just lights. Anyway, but what I have um, done is every Yule, I set up my Yule altar, and every day I do my prayers. Everybody knows I do morning prayers, mid-afternoon prayers, and evening prayers. Anybody need prayers, you let me know. Send me a message, and you'll be added to our prayers. And performing cleansing rituals. Performing cleansing rituals and tree blessings. Take care of your greenery around your home, around your neighborhood. Plant trees. Um, Talk to your neighborhood. Try and see if you can do a neighborhood vegetable garden or herb garden. Um, Something that will remind everyone about Yule. Now, again, we do not think of the past, right? This is a tradition, but traditions change. So celebrate Yule your way. What is Yule to you? Well, to me, it's all of that. It's also burning incense um, to cleanse my home, having aromas of pine, of apples and cinnamon. Um, we're going to do something. I'm going to see if everybody wants to be part of it in the family. Is we I use a little Yule log, right, on my altar, and I decorate it with candles and cedars and uh, everything that for me represents the winter solstice. And then we take that Yule outside, right, with all the candles and everything, and we watch the candles go down while we are meditating or sending prayers up to the ether. And then, of course, hopefully everybody will help me roll the Yule cake and help me stuff it and put it together. I make such a mess. I break all my Yule cakes. It's just, I think it's maybe not enough eggs or too many eggs. I don't know. But whatever it is. Um, and then, of course, we have the feast. The Yule log is done at the end where everybody eats it, and we break into it. Whatever's left, however it looks, we laugh. So it brings a lot of happy moments, right? So it's I want you to guys to understand that Christmas and Yule, um, and all these traditions were adopted by man-made religion to have something in common so that they can bring in uh, more members that pay for their churches. That's what that was, taxing the people because they belong to the church. Um, it's just like the Christians when they conquered these, they went into uh, different places, different countries. For example, um, they have, if they would find a god, right, that a certain group of people in a country that they were worshiping, they would make, okay, a saint that they would call it, that was the equivalent to that deity for the conversion purposes. I have a problem with that. How can you create something that isn't real? Therefore, the conversion was not real. That's why, especially in Yule, especially during Christmas, whatever it means to you, you come in truth and integrity into the winter solstice. You plan for the next year. Whether it's physical seeds you're going to put in the ground or spiritual seeds you will plant within yourself and within your offspring and your family and friends. It is not about, and I certainly, listen, I'm a vendor too on Etsy. I haven't seen a sale in months. Do I care? No, that's not who I am. What you do is you give something that means something to you, right? Whether it's be time with family. What a freaking gift. Time for you and your husband. What a freaking gift. Not a $200 suit that they're not going to wear, or $300 shoes, or a Gucci bag. I'm sorry, I'm a Target girl myself. But any of that. No, it's something you took time and effort to do. And that's what our family is actually going through. But we're conditioned to believe, oh, that's depression. No. We're conditioned to believe that that's what that is. No. We're changing. We're seeing what's important. We're realizing that, just like everybody's saying, we all are going back to the beginning. Everybody's going back to the beginning. We're relearning, we're unlearning, we're relearning. No, ladies and gentlemen, that is ingrained in our DNA. We got all that information through our DNA. We are reliving it. That's all we are. And we have choices that we have to make. And one of those choices is to understand that we are separating from the material in many, many different ways. And we are embracing our spiritual selves. What is important is the connection. And right now, on this beautiful solstice, this time that we're here, we're realizing what is important. The most important thing of all is knowing and understanding and using your ability to love. That's it. That's all there is. So I hope, oh, I made it too long. I'm so sorry. I hope that this explanation of Yule's past, what I have gathered, certainly not written on stone, because the more we learn, the more things make sense and the more things change in the delivery, in the understanding. Right now, your level of understanding or your level of spiritual understanding. You've got your level of understanding as a human body, a meat suit, but then you have your level of spiritual understanding from your spiritual self. Allow each other to connect and to understand and enjoy this Christmas or Yule or Joel, Navidad, festividades, whatever it is, in truth, integrity, and light. Ahum. Namaste. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful winter. I'll see you in January. Are you ready to start the hard work?